So I'm in a pretty inspired parking spot here. Midday, right around the equator. It's very hard to find shade. As we were coming down where that red car is coming, I saw what looked like shade here. I managed not to run over these plants. I did not. Maybe one? No, I don't think I did. But I couldn't have gotten in any closer without destroying the plants. Magic is back there. There was there. He may be under the car by now or somewhere. So I trying to get in exactly under this little bit of sun because I would love to take a nap. I really desperately need one. I'm thinking only in the driver's seat because the air will be moving, because the air won't be moving in the back. It's a little hamlet. Look at that palapa, I think is the word. That thatched hut. That's quite grand. Somebody did a beautiful job with that. And some people live back in here, I'm sure. So when I tried to come forward a little to use all the shade here, it just wouldn't go any further, so I didn't push it, which I think was probably a good idea there, because that was pretty much as far as I was going to get there. But it's not bad, huh? Back in the little town of Poza Rica, I got inspired when I saw a Soriani shopping mall, because we had a good experience with the Soriani shopping mall in Tampico right up until when my phone was stolen. But we found shade there. We're pretty inspired by getting there early and getting right under the right tree. But I did, at the last minute, a taxi pulled out and there was one little bit of shade. So I pulled us in there and let the dogs get out and reconnoitered about taking a nap there. And it was an incredibly noisy intersection. And just as I was loading Bear back in the car, because I gave up on that, this guy started using a circular saw right behind me, cutting tile. So that was insane. A fantasy. But great parking spots. Driving big dark vans. Narwhal was bigger and dark red. This one obviously is black. So they catch the sun and don't necessarily breathe as well as you'd like them to. In Louisville, Kentucky, little Pancho and I used to go to a homeless person's luncheon put on by the Franciscans. That was really interesting. A great meal every day. It was famous in Louisville. And we had one huge tree, because Louisville has great trees, that by just parking a block and a half away, that was our usual spot every day. We love that spot. And in another park in Louisville, trying to run in under a tree like that, I did poke a hole in the moonroof. Narwhal had I hope that goes away. Had big moonroofs up there. That could impede my sleep, but maybe not. Yeah, okay, it's not quiet. It's not your classic siesta spot. But the best, way up in Kentucky, south of LaGrange, Kentucky, where they would, in Kentucky, at least at that point 2 years ago, summer of 21, the deal on smoking for establishments was the proprietor decided. So we went into a Valero, big national gas station, convenience store with a nice luncheonette where the ashtray was prominently placed right in the middle of the table. And everybody was smoking. That was interesting. But just south of there, I can't bring up the name of the town, because I had a hole in that moonroof and I had done my best job of replacing it. I bought a little sheet of plexiglass from Lowe's or something and just duct taped it over, but it wasn't airtight. It would leak if it rained hard. So it was brewing for a big storm. And in this little hamlet, I saw a big picnic shelter. But several of the towns right around there had ones that must have been designed by the same person. They looked the same. Big picnic shelter. And by just moving a few benches and tables, I slid my big narwhal back in there. And I was excited for about 20 minutes, and then like a cruiser and two pickup truck cops showed up. And it was one of the greatest cop lines I've ever heard. The guy who was tall and sharp. He was not a mean guy, but he was very straightforward. He was leading the thing, and his opening line was, so what were you thinking? What were you thinking? And I explained to him it looked like a carport to me, and he said, just for speculation, maybe it could have been a carport. Suppose it was a carport. It's not your carport. And they had me back out, and I don't know how I had driven up that tiny little sidewalk to get in there without crushing the plants on either side. But I could not back up without crushing the plants. So walking next to me, he took over the steering wheel, and I asked him, is it legal in Kentucky for a pedestrian to operate a moving vehicle? And you know, a couple days later, the woman who drove who was the EMT on the ambulance that took me from one of those towns out there into the U of L hospital for my big stroke that I had out there, she said, that was you? She said, I also work in the EMT for that county, and I saw that all the cops arranged there. That was you, huh? She and I, even though I had a stroke and I was really out of it, we had the most wonderful conversation. And as they were wheeling me in the hospital, she said, you were my favorite fare ever. And I really would like to trace her back, because the U of L hospital held me 5 hours without anybody talking to me, and then saw me for 20 minutes and discharged me with a diagnosis of lightheadedness and no follow-up, and spilled me out on the sidewalk with me completely disoriented, not knowing where I was. And I would love to get her to testify that I was charming, but fucked up. What a wild year that was. Okay, afterwards I'm sure I'll think of some more great parking spots.